Welcome, everybody, to Talking Elite with the All Elite Zone podcast. I am joined today with Connor, and we are going to be doing a part two of one of the greatest wrestlers on the planet today, of Kenny Omega. So it's going to be a fun show. Connor, thank you so much for joining me tonight. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good.
I'm good. What was like your first moment you remember seeing Kenny Omega, or that first what was that what was like that first time that you became a fan or at least watched one of Kenny Omega's matches?
So the first time I seen Kenny Omega was, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
All right. The first time I seen Kenny Omega was around when AJ Styles went to WWE in 2016. I believe he turned on AJ Styles. I don't know who Kenny Omega was, but the rumors of AJ Styles going to WWE and stuff. And the first time I seen Kenny Omega was him attack AJ Styles. Uh, I've seen him a little bit before, but never really watched anything of his. But I really took notice once he turned on AJ Styles. Uh, I watched his matches with Okada on they still come on Access TV, right? They still come on there.
Yeah, they were on Access for a little bit. Yeah,
Like they would have stuff at like 1 a.m. like reruns of matches I would watch. His match against Kota Ibushi, Okada. There were some other matches. Then I seen some of his stuff with Ring of Honor. They had like the Night Ring of Honor versus New Japan. I remember it was like the Bullet Club. It was Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks versus Jay Lethal and the Briscoes, which is a very good match. But I really, really took notice of Kenny Omega once he came to AEW. Once AEW started, like I knew Kenny Omega before AEW started,
right.
but I really like knowing Kenny Omega took to a whole new level once AEW started. So yeah, I'd probably say around 2016. Really, I know he's been with WWE before. Not he would like to remember, but as a in OVW, I believe, or was it SCW? He was in something like that.
Yeah.
That I seen that WWE posted. Yeah, around 2016 when AJ Styles went to WWE is when I first heard of the name Kenny Omega.
Yeah. For me, it was right when Cody left WWE. That's kind of when I got kind of fed up with the Federation at that time. Nothing against them personally, it was just not what I wanted to watch. And I did like a deep dive when I saw that Cody joined Bullet Club. I wanted to see, more about Bullet Club. And I've heard the name, the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega. I was seeing their merch and Hot Topic at the time. And I'm like, I wanted to see more about them. And started watching when he turned on AJ Styles. That was like the first really video that I watched with Kenny in it. And because as you can tell, I'm a huge Styles fan. And seeing that video of him saying that he had to starve himself, that he could not, he had to play second fiddle to Styles, like that promo was just so captivating. And then you had like P Dog, and I was actually about to get to this, Omega versus Cody. Like the whole who is leader of the Bullet Club and that whole storyline with the Bucks and they choosing Cody. I think there was Bernard the Business Bear that was just like a random stooge. But like that was like when I first started seeing Kenny Omega, and then I watched him versus Okada, and I had me hooked. And then like the first like time I really like sat down and watched one of his matches live was when he went against Penta El Zero. AEW is basically, kick off first ever pay-per-view that before it was even AEW. So watching that, it was just such a good, captivating moment. Got to see Kenny Omega for the mastermind that he really is. And then to see kind of where he's at now, it's the guy just keeps evolving. He just keeps getting better and better.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that match, him and Cody. I feel like AJ Styles elevated him.
Even though he even admits that.
Even though they never went against each other, they
did.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, so so from last week, I mentioned this just briefly. So they wrestled at just a small independent show.
Oh, really?
This is when Styles was getting big, and this is just as Kenny was getting into the business. Kenny was actually getting very frustrated, and if it wasn't for AJ Styles, Kenny Omega actually would have quit wrestling. So he owes a lot to AJ Styles. and he's the one that helped Kenny get into New Japan and start the Golden Levers. So yeah, it's crazy to go back and look at both their careers right now. I think both Styles and Omega probably are the most decorated world champions in Bullet Club, at least in their history.
Yeah, you're right. Was it like, did this happen like when AJ Styles was first getting into wrestling, or
It was like very start of both of their careers.
it's probably 2003, 2004?
Yeah, I want to say
Like
it was probably. I think AJ was at TNA at the time. I'm trying to remember because
Yeah.
I know Kenny did an interview on it. So I'll see if I can find it and I'll post it on Twitter. But yeah, that's like, and then just like I said, just to see their careers, man. It's remarkable to see how big those two have made it, especially in the mainstream media. Yes, AEW is the second biggest wrestling company right now, but when you think AEW, for me, Kenny Omega is one of the ones that pop up. Well, then again, it's called
Elite.
All Elite Wrestling,
Yeah.
so especially with like the crazy adventures with the Elite, and like he's just had he's probably my favorite consistent wrestlers. Even when, say, he may not be like the main event, feature, he still has a big role on whether it's AAA, New Japan, or AEW. Like he's probably one of the most consistently booked, big talents of both promotions, besides Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, I think he's definitely a main. Well, in AEW, he definitely is out since they've started. The first four champions: Jericho, Moxley, Omega, Hangman.
Omega, yeah.
And that was Kenny Omega had that as his profile, as his wallpaper on Twitter, I believe. Those four,
yeah.
Those four as the and he main evented how many pay-per-views? It was technically Full Gear 2019. It wasn't the main event, but kind of was.
Yeah, it should have been. It was still one of the best, tag matches we've ever seen.
Another one of Full Gear, him against Moxley.
Moxley was great.
It was technically the main event, but it wasn't. Just Robert said that the show officially ended, and then it's the lights out. But he, as a champion, he main evented Revolution. So many Dynamites he's main evented. Double or Nothing, Full Gear, All Out. He's really done everything in AEW. He's a AEW World Champion, Tag Champion, Trios Champion. He just needs to win the. He needs to win them real fast before they add another title, the TNT and All Out, and he's a first ever Grand Slam.
I would actually, now that the Elite aren't Trios champions anymore, I would push him to be. I think it'd be awesome to see him as the North Atlantic champion, or what's the new name for it now?
International,
yeah, dude. Have him do that, and then I would have him do it like. Have him just briefly hold it for a few months. Have him hold it, go to New Japan, and defend it at the Tokyo Dome. I think that would be do it against Ospreay. Have Will Ospreay be the one to defeat him for that championship at the Tokyo Dome.
That would be
because I know New Japan loves a long storytelling, and I think that would be a cool moment. One thing that I want Kenny to bring back, or at least into AEW, because I loved it when he would do like those special like entrances at New Japan. Have you seen any of his special ones that he's done?
I've seen his Terminator.
Terminator one was cool.
Yeah.
There is
once he did it, everyone did it. Triple H,
yeah.
Everyone did it when he did it.
Yeah, I like his entrance a lot better than Triple H's.
Yeah, like definitely. I think Kenny Omega created that trend. Like Brian Cage did it. Triple H did it. There were some other ones who did it. Like once he did it, it was the thing for wrestling. Like you had to do a Terminator entrance.
Yes,
and it's kind of. I can kind of see Triple H doing that with all his past, at least WrestleMania entrances.
Yeah,
that he's done over the years. So he's like a copy.
Did you see his like? I don't know what anime it was, but it was like he did like a mech suit kind of, or mech captain kind of attire, and came out and had that giant gun. Do you remember that? I'm trying to remember what one that one's from, but that one was a really cool. That one was a really cool entrance, and then he had his last championship match. New Japan World Heavyweight Championship match, where I think it was Okada. But he had that whole like where Okada was like the final boss, and just had that really cool Titantron of like a video game. I thought that was really cool. Like so I'm a huge video game nerd, and when he did Sephiroth at this last one, because I was in the middle of actually playing Final Fantasy VII, and so for him to come out and do the whole Sephiroth entrance, if you guys haven't watched it, go back and watch that one. That's probably one of his entrances. Do you have any? It could be AEW. Do you have any specific entrants that you like that Kenny has done?
Um, it's a tough one. I
You
know
have the
it's not.
helicopter.
Which one was the helicopter one?
It was a random dynamite. It was like right after him and Don Callis got together.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
one was really cool. Like you can't top a helicopter.
Um, trying to think pay-per-view wise, which one would be? I know which one it's not. It's not the one where he came with the girls, and so I just wasn't it.
Yeah, like the cleaner girls.
Like it was a cool entrance once they
Yeah,
included them. Uh, that's tough. Probably his Wrestle Kingdom against Okada.
yeah.
The one that went an hour, I believe. Like it was an hour match or something.
Jeez, man.
I believe that was it. Yeah.
That one was. It's just nuts. Like I haven't watched the full match, but I've watched highlights from that one. And
Yeah.
it just proves like how crazy like Japan wrestling is, and I'm glad that they finally had the balls to do that on an AEW pay per view. That that Iron Man match because that was entertaining. I think another cool one. This is with the Elite though. When they did the Street Fighter gear,
Oh
that
yeah,
one was that one was
yeah.
awesome. I need to get the figures for it. Apparently they're at GameStop now, like actually plentiful. There was those ones. There was that entrance, and then there was the. Oh, my brain. Oh, it was when it was on a Halloween special when he came out as Sans from Undertale.
Oh, they also came. Well, it's kind of came back. They came out with the Ghostbusters.
The ghost. Yeah, the Ghostbusters. They did the Elite Squad.
Yeah.
That one was really fun, and it's just crazy to think that you have the best tag team in the world and one of the best wrestlers as a faction. Like they really are the dominant fact. Really, compared to the Shield or the Bloodline, really the Elite. Whether you like them or not, they're probably one of the most dominant factions of any wrestling promotion, at least of modern day.
Have we done wrestling factions as a topic of talk?
We need to. We haven't done it yet. I think
that would actually be pretty cool.
Yeah, I think I'll pencil in for next week because I'm still trying to come up with
favorite. Like this is off subject, but one of my favorite factions was I wasn't gonna lie for, but Evolution, Randy Orton, Triple H. At that time, like that was. I didn't even live through it, but just going back and watching it was really cool.
Yeah, but, we'll go more. We'll do that next week for sure because we could easily talk about the Shield to Bloodline, House of Black. There's so many great factions now.
Yeah.
So I think we'll be like I said. I think we could we'll do a show next week on that.
Jobber Squad.
Jobber Squad. Yes. With Kenny Omega, do you hold any? This is more of a specific question for you. Are you still? Did you lose any kind of respect for him when the brawl out happened, or did you? Or were you just not caring and just like, okay, I'm just gonna let bygones be bygones. I want Punk back. I want the Elite back, and just enjoy it. Like, what was your thoughts on that whole?
At first, I really didn't have anything towards Kenny Omega. Just the Young Bucks, really, because CM Punk and Kenny Omega, like he wasn't even involved in the fight apparently, but I never really hated them like the Young Bucks and them. I just disliked their I don't know, their philosophy of wrestling, I guess. But I never stopped I don't think that they're terrible wrestlers because they're one of the best. They're one of the best, tag teams and trio or singles with Kenny Omega. I never lost interest in Kenny Omega. I guess like some other people like Jim Cornette or something like that. I've never been like that towards them. I don't feel like I have. At this point, I've kind of gotten over the Punk versus Elite thing.
Yeah. No, it's gonna be a good match though if it happens.
No, that's a dream match. Kenny Omega versus CM Punk, and it had to happen at All Out because I remember when AEW first started. It was in 2020. Someone made the graphic of CM Punk versus Kenny Omega All Out. 2025, like that was the date. So
it could happen. That's the thing. we're still waiting on CM Punk to get healed up. So
He's also was it Heels season 3?
I forgot he's doing heels. I forgot about that. I think
But
is it 2 or 3? I can't remember.
I think it's season 3. I haven't watched it, but I know him and AJ Lee's both going to be in it.
Oh, that's good because I
But
think that's a huge dream match would be Kenny versus Punk. I don't care if it's for the world title, but that right there would be a great match, and you could do it for the number one contendership for Max. I feel like that
yeah,
would set up for your next big story. Especially because, like I said, you could do a blood feud with, have that on the card and have FTR versus the Bucks, have them like be back to back and just like cater to the fans and then set up
yeah.
for your bigger, stories going out that way. Especially if FTR gets the titles, which
Yeah, it has to. that has to be the payoff, really.
because
Speaking
I
of
don't.
FTR, top guys. I was wearing a superhero shirt earlier, but kind of got dirty. Didn't have a.
But looking at it, I think especially with FTR and Punk, like there is a lot there. There. I don't care if you don't care if it's just with the elite. Like I would love to see that trios faction. I think they would be another one that you could have be trio world holders and have that credibility.
Who Punk and
Punk and FTR. Like
yeah.
think about how many young guys can they put over and young factions that you have on that roster as of right now. There's so many teams that they could help bring up to their level. So that way, like I said, there's possibilities. That's one thing that's with dream matches. With Kenny Omega, do you have any other dream matches? Because I know we're getting one tomorrow.
Yeah, I got a lot of dream matches with Kenny Omega. Some may never happen, but Kenny Omega versus CM Punk for one. Kenny Omega and Adam Cole. I still want to see that match. They but they have to have Bobby Fish in that. Like they cannot just not do that trios match. Like they can't not do that. I would say Roderick Strong, but I don't know when his contract expires. I don't care if it's just for a one-time thing, just to bring Bobby Fish back. It's just one match, then he can go off and say his little catchphrase again.
His little catchphrase.
But like that's actually made him a lot of money, surprisingly. But dream matches: Adam Cole, CM Punk, Triple H. That's never going to happen. I love this. Terminator, Triple H against Terminator, CM Omega. That'd have been something.
That promo battle would be legendary.
Kenny Omega and Finn Balor, Kenny Omega and AJ Styles again, Kenny Omega versus Buddy Matthews in a one-on-one match.
Yes.
Man, the list can go on and on and on.
I still want to see Kenny versus Malachi.
That would be
would be just a hard hitting like almost kind of like do that similar storyline you do with Pac. And just had that hard hitting Iron Man match. I think that would be a good way to close off a Dynamite or a pay-per-view, just depending on how you want to book it. I would love to see. Has he gone up against Dante Martin? I can't remember because I know he had the whole sports entertainment gimmick, but I can't remember if he went up against Dante in that time frame. I want to say he did, didn't he?
He may have had a singles match too.
I would love.
I know they've had a trios match.
Yeah, that's true. They have trios, but a singles match I think that'd be a good one, especially because I feel like Dante might be the next Kenny Omega.
Yep.
I think because he's like, I've gone back and I've watched some of like Dante's matches from the past and then to now. The kid's slowed down a little bit. At least it looks like his strikes are hitting better.
Yeah.
Must be like I said, so that's a good sign.
Well, he's getting AR Fox mentioned before that he doesn't miss anything. Like the move he does, he goes really fast, but he's also it's hard to say. Like he's going fast and slow at the same time. Like he's going really fast, but
he makes it look explosive. Like
so, it's really good that he's with Top Flight and able to rub off on them.
Yeah, but that's one thing. AR Fox is very explosive. It makes it look like. Like I said, Kenny does that same offense where it looks so explosive, but it's
it's really slow but really fast. Well, he's really slow but quick.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah, I would love to. Yeah,
but one of them, the dream matches, they teased it on Impact, but they never did it. Was Kenny Omega versus Josh Alexander?
They need to do that one.
Yeah, that'd be a really good match. I think. I don't think Josh Alexander's going to stay there forever.
Mm-mm.
So One match. I want to see Kenny Omega and Hangman team up again and go for those tag titles again. Because I think they've been the best tag team title holders they've ever had.
Story wise, I agree with you on that one. Besides, I would say FTR and the Bucks had a good story as well. I'd say FTR would be number 2 because, like I said, Kenny. I think just because you had that passion, fans were invested. You know, they were planting seeds left and right for that turn.
It was they won it. No, they didn't have it then. But the teams that they went against, well, I wasn't gonna say at Bash at the Beach, but it was Kenny and Hangman versus the Young Bucks versus I think Private Party and Santana and Ortiz, and oh my god, that match was something else. But I think I thought that they were one of the best tag team champions that they ever had. I really don't feel like FTR and the Young Bucks really got what they should have gotten. You know, the first match was in front of no fans.
Yeah,
Everyone was on Dynamite, but they needed that pay-per-view match like that.
they need that big payoff now that we have fans back because you know that's the thing is like I think I don't know if it's like I'm still high on that match, but I don't know if it's because like I said, AEW was my distraction during the pandemic, and I was still enjoying it like I do now. It's just
and they're still 1-1, so they still got that tiebreaker. They can
and think about it. You can easily have Bucks lose to FTR if that's the direction they're going to go. Because apparently they're still like not sure of where they're going, but also reports. Now it's Dave Meltzer, so who knows? Dave Meltzer has said that they've signed long-term deals. You know, but,
apparently Dax posted that they've him and Catch has made up their minds what they're going to do, but none's official yet. But I don't see them coming back to AEW. You just leaving again
with that big pop in that direction. No way, like because
I don't see how that could happen.
Because if they were like leaving, like say,
I wouldn't even have them on there.
If they were leaving like teams like did in the territories, they would put the young guys over like they did with the Acclaimed and then leave.
Which they've already done that too.
Yeah,
and now they're back. So
now looking at it,
I don't know if you know who DeAndre Jordan is. You know that basketball player?
No, I do not.
Well, what he did was he signed with the Dallas Mavericks and then changed his mind and then left. That kind of reminds me of that. But I don't think FTR's that low them. They do that.
No,
I thought they're staying with AEW.
They have more respect for Tony than that.
They'll probably have a combinance of what they've been doing, you know. But they want a lot of schedule, and AEW as is a lighter schedule. Like you can just work with AEW, and that's already a lighter schedule.
Because even with like their house shows, if you look at it, their house shows like they're not as frequent as WWE is. Like you're not wrestling like 4 or 5 nights out of the week.
Yeah.
You know, you're maybe doing 2 or 3, depending if you're doing, ROH. So another fun match. I'd love to see Matt Taven. I think Taven and Omega would be a great singles match to do on Dynamite. I think, like I said, I think that's something that, especially with Taven now being on Ring of Honor, I feel like you could use, the Kingdom more. And if we can't do, the Elite versus, Adam Cole and, Red Dragon, you could easily do Adam Cole and the Kingdom. They have the history there. I think Kenny Omega going up against Jeff Hardy would be fun.
Yeah, that
in a singles match. Hopefully, I'm not sure if Jeff Hardy's coming back, but if he does, that's what I would do. And then the big one that I want to see that I think is going to happen, I think by the end of this year, I think it'll happen at Full Gear, and that would be Takeshita.
Yeah,
I think Takeshita
kind of planting seeds for that with Don Callis or whatever that's going to turn into.
Don't you want to see a custody of Don Callis on a pole match?
I don't see him working with the Elite. I don't think he could be like. I don't know where they betray him. Like if they're going to betray him as Brandon Cutler, he can't pull off Brandon Cutler.
No, I think what you'll have to do is have like maybe a series of matches where it's Kenny and Takeshita tag teaming, and then a one-on-one match, and then have Callis just blow Kenny. But I know it's very sports entertainment, but
I know like Don Callis is like he hasn't won any matches, but he beat Brian Cage. He's beat all these people. So he's technically done better without Don Callis.
Yeah.
But I look for Kenny Omega and Takeshita though.
Ethan says Kenny Omega can have a 5-star match against anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. I think that's what's genius about Kenny, and something that unfortunately that knucklehead Jim Cornette does not understand, especially with Japanese wrestling. Japanese wrestling has some weird stuff as it is, but for him to go up against a trained kid wrestler, a little girl who's 12, okay, he didn't hurt her, so that gives you a lot of credit to Kenny Omega.
I think that was actually Riho.
Was that Riho? I think it was. Yeah, that might have been Riho.
I know he went against it was a doll. Like he went against a
blow-up doll.
It made it. I don't know. That's really hard to do. He made it like it was an actual 5-star match.
But yet you don't, yet Jim, you don't criticize like the blindfold matches or, we did Jeopardy a couple weeks ago, and what was that match with that Aiden brought up with the dog, like I think it was a big boss man with the dogs that were outside the ring and pooping. I'm like, okay, why aren't you criticizing that? Because at least Kenny Omega versus the doll or the little girl was entertaining, and the little girl was trained to be a wrestler. And she was a plant. I don't understand his mentality, especially because he was, enjoying wrestling at a time when he had the gobbledygook, Gooker and the Red Rooster. I'm like, those are terrible ideas. Like I feel like I said, it's part of just his character at this point. Like
I think I don't agree with everything Jim Cornette says, but there's some things that I can see.
Yeah.
If you really listen to his stuff, like his listen to like some of his past stuff, like of like marketing, everything that he's done, like some things I agree with, but overall it's just basically like Dex Harwood said, if you like a lot of the stuff, like you don't have to agree with everything he says, but some things is valid that he says, but
criticism is fine.
Most of the time I don't agree with a lot of the stuff he says, but there is some like taking like it's kind of like Legos, and you're just picking out those one little pieces that are those thousands of pieces. You're just picking. Orange Cassidy.
Yeah, so this is my
Twitch. We got a Twitch comment. Sorry, I had to click on that because we never.
No, this is my friend Jesse.
Oh, really? Because we never get.
He's a huge wrestling fan, so shout out to Jesse. Thanks for watching. He wants to see Orange Cassidy and Jeff Hardy in a no DQ match if Jeff Hardy comes back.
That'd be really good.
Like that would be an insane match. Like that would be a crazy spot fest.
Yeah, I think he's coming back. His stuff's recently been over, so I give it maybe a month or two and he'll be back.
I think he'll. What's the next? Is Forbidden Door the next pay per view, or is there one after? Or is there
we was Double or Nothing next because
Forbidden Door is in May, right? Yeah. So
Forbidden Door is in June.
Yeah, I think he'll come back at one. I think he'll come back at one of those two pay per views. I think he'll have to have that big pop.
I think Matt Hardy even said that he doesn't want to leave the way he doesn't want to end his career like this. Like he can't end it like this. At least just one match back and that'll be it. But I believe he's gonna have more than one match because I still want to see him and CM Punk again.
Yeah,
because I seen their last match and at that point, like everything was real to me. Like I was maybe 10, 11 years old. I hated CM Punk because I was a big Jeff Hardy fan at the time. I wore colored my hair, had the arm sleeves, had the necklaces, I had everything. Jeff Hardy is my favorite wrestler. He beat him, and then I was done with it. And then Jeff Hardy comes out and says, "Well, there's still a Hardy on this show," but I could care less about Matt. At that time. I didn't care about Matt Hardy. Jeff Hardy was my favorite wrestler. Then he beat him. And then I hated CM Punk back then. I hated him.
See, I'm actually a bigger Matt Hardy fan than Jeff Hardy. Like I love Jeff, but I like Matt, and I don't know. I think because there's a lot of things that as a brother, I think Matt has helped me, like, I guess, like be a better brother myself to my little brother. So that's some of the things that he's helped Jeff with, and kind of some of the insights he's had and about, jealousy and all that part of his, being part of his career. So I loved you.
It might not just the ghost song, but like he's like a lot of his songs too.
Jeff's one of the best. Like I think he's got some of the best lyrics of any really any wrestler that's crossed over into the music side.
He gave me a free CD one time. I met him twice. Also, his his drawings are very, very, very good. If you've ever met him and got his autograph is unlike any other autograph. Talking about Jeff Hardy here, but
we'll
still,
get back on topic here in a second.
if you've ever met Jeff Hardy, I should have got my one day we're going to do a Jeff Hardy one of these things. But his autograph is like none other. Like he puts a lot of effort into his stuff, like his drawings, his music,
grass,
of course,
landscaping.
Yeah. Of course, his was it? He just dirt bike. He got hurt doing that one time, I believe.
Yep, dirt bikes. He's just a fun guy. He just loves to live.
I like the Hardys. I love the both of them.
Same here.
But Jeff Hardy and Kenny Omega would be good. It's never happened.
Yeah, that would be great. I think that would be. You could easily do that. So going back to Kenny Omega, let me ask you. I'm kind of curious to see what you think about this. So, who did the sports entertainment gimmick better, Jericho or Omega? Because they were both very. It's been very fun to see how different their vision of sports entertainment is.
I think.
So, what is your take on that?
I think Jericho's really made AEW sports entertainment like. With the way Kenny Omega's was when he was with Don Callis, right?
Yeah.
His still felt like because he was doing Impact too. Don Callis really made it still like he was putting Kenny Omega over. Like he was better than, oh my God, Billy Graham, all these people in the past. He'd name everybody and say that all these people. Who was it? Grand Gagne, Vince McMahon. He was better than all these people. I don't know. That could go evenly, but I think Jericho has. He's rubbed off on a lot of other people in AEW. I feel like with sports entertainment, I feel like they should be playing it like a comedy group. How bad WWE sports entertainment is at this point, but Jericho can do it. He's pulled off any kind of character, especially in his career. What is it? He went to Y2J, to the List of Jericho, to Painkiller, to the
Painmaker, you mean?
Yeah, the Painmaker. He's played all kinds of characters. So it's not new for Jericho though.
Yeah,
switch up characters.
But what did you think? What did you think of Kenny when he like kind of stepped out of stepped out of what his normal character is and actually stepped into this heel sports entertainer character when he had the whole Triple H goatee? What was your thoughts on that?
I feel like Don Callis was Ric Flair and he was Triple H, but it was really an old school feeling. Like he would go to Impact, he defended the world title, the AEW world title against Rich Swann. He'd go to Mexico to Triple A. He'd wrestle in AEW. Remember it was 2021. His first match, his first title defense against Ray Phoenix was really, really good. He would go to he had all these matches in like Impact to. I don't think he went to New Japan, but he went to AAA. He went to all these places. It felt like an old school title run a little bit. I think his world title run was one of the best in AEW. I really liked his because that wasn't he's never done that before. Like played that type of heel. He's played heels, but not with the manager with the group. Not like that. I really liked it. I wish they would have continued a little bit more with Impact, like especially Frankie Kazarian's Elite Hunter. I feel like he would go to Impact.
Yeah, they dropped the ball a little bit.
I feel like he would go, like being called the Elite Hunter, he would go to Impact and hunt the Elite. He would go to AAA and hunt the Elite. Everywhere they would go, he would hunt them down as the Elite Hunter. But I like I don't know if it was an Impact or AEW, but when they had the Elite van or bus thing and it got wrecked over by Moxley. And that was really funny.
See, I loved this was like it was such it was like almost like a refresher for Kenny stepping into that sports entertainment role because I was very entertained by it. Like I think Jericho's done a good job with it too, but Kenny kind of took that one step further and had scripts asking Dom what his line was. The whole cheesy kick in, the groin where he did to Evil Uno when he was asking Evil Uno, "Hey, have you ever been to Bangkok?" Got him right. It was stuff like that, and then his, of course, leading up to the match, with Kenny, and then with Kenny had that leading up to that match, with Hangman. And having the Bucks go into that sports entertainment side where where that whole weird sports entertainment elite. And like you were saying, like they could have done a better job with the Elite Hunter
Yeah.
because because think about it, at that time that's why I wish Tony Khan would have figured out. I wish he would have signed the Good Brothers. I wish he would have put the money down to sign the Good Brothers because that faction right there was so much fun to watch and how they're interacting with Hangman. And then when they brought Frankie Kazarian in, I'm like, dude, this is gonna be great. And they kind of dropped the ball with Frankie Kazarian. Like, I wish they would have.
I believe at the time, wasn't it Kenny Omega? I mean, not Kenny Omega, John Moxley and Kenny Omega feuding in AEW at least.
Yeah, they were because he was doing that in AEW.
They could have built on a story like the Elite versus basically AEW.
Yeah,
because I thought they were trying to do. It could be the Elite versus Moxley, Kingston, Frankie Kazarian, and two others.
Mm-hmm.
That could have Frankie Kazarian against Kenny Omega for the world title. Frankie Kazarian's not going to win, but just to progress this, the Elite Hunter, like when you think Elite Hunter, it's not. It doesn't matter where it's at. He's hunting the Elite.
Yeah,
like
it could have been. Yeah,
like that could have done a grocery store. I don't know if they've been allowed to do that in the pandemic.
The whole Booker T and Stone Cold.
Yeah, that was really funny. I'd like to see AEW do their own spin on that, and Kenny Omega and Moxley would have been very good because Moxley playing that. He kind of reminded me of Steve Urkel in a way. The way, so it's like some of his promos were, and he played that type of character, and having him and Don Callis out in Walmart or somewhere, and Moxley, them just brawling in a grocery store would have been pretty funny.
Because I think you're gonna have to lead up to something with Takeshita as of right now, just because. Going back to that, like looking at how Don Callis is acting, like he can't be a babyface. He's the best talker in the game right now, at least one of the best ones when it comes to a manager right now. I think he does. He reminds me of almost like a Paul Heyman or like with Jim Cornette, where he has to get heat. Like he gets good heat.
Imagine if Paul Heyman managed Kenny Omega.
Oh, dude, that'd
be really good.
Well, think about it. I watched a clip with I could see him doing it because Kenny doesn't really need a talker for him as much, And looking at CM Punk when he was paired up with, Paul Heyman and that whole he didn't really speak a whole lot. Paul Heyman, all it was those facial features that he did. So when you go back and watch a lot of CM Punk's promo during that time frame of his championship run, just Paul Heyman and then raising the championship up. Raising it up again. Like he said it it was like a workout for him. Ethan brings up, Elite Hunter should have been booked better. Yeah. I think they could have done a whole lot. They could have done a small faction with some of the guys that Kenny Omega was
Moxley
destroying. They could have brought Moxley and Kingston into it. They could have teamed up with Dark Order. There was a lot going on during that time frame. And I think before Kenny Omega got hurt, Kenny was probably one of the most entertaining wrestlers on that roster.
Yeah.
Especially his promo right before the first Blood and Guts when we had that then the first crowd's back. I thought that was I thought it was a good way to get people back into AEW with actually having a decent attendance there. So, other than that, I think with Kenny, he's a very special wrestler. I think with reports of him going to WWE, do you think that's going to happen, or do you think he's an AEW for life?
I don't think it's good at WWE because I don't know. I don't know if he will or not. I hope he doesn't. Because if they lose the Elite, then there's no more. I guess I won't say the founding fathers because Kenny Omega, because it's Tony Khan. Even without the Elite, this was going to be something.
Yeah.
But without the Elite, there wouldn't be Elite in AEW as the Elite, which a lot of people forget how much money Tony Khan has. His family, the Khan family, is one of the most richest families in the entire world. So money is not really an issue, really, at this point.
It would just be on his happiness at that point. And
that's what it comes down to. And I don't think in WWE he would have ever got to make a video game.
No.
And that's a once in a life opportunity you get is to make a video game, which Kenny Omega is a very video game person.
Big time.
But at this point, I've seen his comments. He could just be using leverage to get more money, or he could just be just saying stuff to say it, or just to get people talking. You never know.
Yeah, I think because he danced a little bit around it on the Renee Paquette podcast or I can't remember her official name for her podcast, but I thought he did a good job explaining that, and I think he didn't necessarily say he's staying with AEW, but it sounds like he's not. I don't think he's going to WWE unless, like I said, unless Balor and AJ Styles and potentially Jay White, unless that intrigues him enough. But would that be enough to go? Because if you look at it, Roman Reigns is thinking about retiring shortly or going part time after.
I know what they'd be doing. The Bullet Club versus the Bloodline, War Games. I could see that.
Yeah, like that would be. I can see that without Kenny too. So who knows what's going to happen at this point? But I don't think Kenny or the Bucks will leave.
I don't think they will either. I just don't know. Especially the Young Bucks. Who would they go against in a tag division? I mean, I know AEW's is pretty bad. Well, right now, but WWE's just.
Because see, you have the Usos.
At least they have some serious
Street Profits.
Like was it the Maxim Male models or
those? Yeah, that terms. I know who you're talking about. Yeah, but it's like if I mean the Good Brothers, but there's just not whole. In Judgment Day, maybe question mark.
It just seems it'd mostly be another New Day and Usos. It'd be Young Bucks and New Day, Young Bucks and New Day, Young Bucks and New Day, Usos. That'd be wearing the whole thing out.
Yeah, like I don't see. To be honest, like I don't see him. Like I don't see him going anywhere besides AEW. I think he has too much freedom because I know that WWE let Shinsuke to New Japan, but
that was a one time.
and Mickey James, came over from Impact, was announced as the Impact champion. But to be honest with you, like I don't think they'll let Kenny do what he wants to do. I don't think he'll be able to go wrestle in New Japan.
I feel like he was pulling teeth to get Shinsuke. That'd be pulling teeth to even get that to happen. Like even with Triple H, I feel like that'd be just pulling teeth. Like it was a miracle Shinsuke got that to happen.
Did Great Muta ever wrestle in WWE or was it only in New Japan?
I don't believe he ever wrestled in WWE.
Because I know Jushin.
I know he did in WCW.
Yeah, so that's okay. That makes sense why he's.
It's their accountant that they bought out WCW and they have that resource type thing. Because some people, like it's in the Hall of Fame, they were never in WWE, but once they bought out ECW and WCW, I guess they consider that as a WWE product now.
Yeah, because even Jushin, Jushin only had one match in NXT.
Yeah, it was. Just Tyler Breeze.
Had Tyler Breeze, and then he had a little bit of those matches in WCW. So I can see. So I can see that. I'm glad he's going to be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame for. Yeah, even though it's not an official Hall of Fame, it's just to have a ring on your finger and say I'm a WWE Hall of Famer on figures and.
I can't wait for at least maybe let's say 10 years. AEW would have their own. Or maybe even longer than that, have their own Hall of Fame.
I think they will because Impact because when did Impact start theirs? Because I know they did. I know they have the Impact Hall of Fame.
No, Sting was their first ever inductee. I want to say it was 2012, 2013.
So it was pretty online with about 10 years. I think AEW could do it. And to be honest with you, I would do a Hall of Fame in Jacksonville and actually have like a wrestling exhibit / Hall of Fame because I think that's what wrestling is missing. I know they have a couple like independent ones throughout the whole country of different Hall of Fames, but I think WWE could benefit from it. Actually, have a Hall of Fame where it's like a museum where you have like the gears and matches.
I don't know whatever happened to that, but WWE was in talks to do like their own Disney World kind of like museum. If you've ever been to WrestleMania Access, it's kind of like it was just a whole amusement park of WWE, like rides, autograph signings, a museum, like an exhibit to where Ric Flair's robe or I don't know, different wrestling attires, the like Andre the Giant thing that they have, like the statue, thing, like that. But I think Jacksonville, like I don't know how they do. I would say Jacksonville Jaguars team. That's too big, but a Daily's place. I thought it would be a perfect place. Like they could have like a unique. Well, like they could use the pandemic stage for that, for a Hall of Fame. That would be really good.
Yeah,
and I feel like Kenny Omega would have to be. I don't know how many they do, but I don't know if it's a class first one. Kenny Omega would have to be one of the first.
Yeah, I think you'd have to put him there
People
first.
in a
Him,
class.
Sting, and probably maybe Arn, maybe.
If it's 10 years from now, I feel like Cody Rhodes would have to be in that, even though he's not with them anymore. Like at least the four would be Kenny Omega, Young Bucks, Hangman, and Kenny Omega. I would say Brandy, but I don't know what she really did in AEW. Really,
She was
but
more of like a backstage personality or backstage.
I will say her
help.
stuff with Dan Lambert was pretty good.
Yeah,
before
he buried her.
I was really curious to what that was going to be about, like what that was, what that was leading up towards that.
Cody just wanted to be a world champion. That's it's so sad. It's kind of sad to see. Like this is kind of go back to our. I don't think Kenny Omega will do great in WWE because think about it. Fans will turn on Cody as soon as he gets that title run.
Well, yeah, they're going to turn on him
because right now they're like, "Oh, I love Cody. I was always cheering Cody." I'm like, especially like other like podcasts like ours, because there's times I'm like, I remember you saying that Cody was doing the same shtick in AEW and you hated him for it.
Yeah,
the same promos, and you hated his guts for it. And then now you turn on. You're going to turn on as soon as he gets the belt. Same thing will happen to Kenny. They'd pop big. They'll say "F you" to AEW. AEW's going to fold because of Kenny leaving, which I don't think they will. Like to be honest with you, the Elite left. They still have a whole bunch of talent that will.
Like the only person, if one person left, AEW would crumble was Tony. If Tony decided that like that was it, there will be no AEW.
Yeah,
I know, like it's his money. Like if it wasn't for the Elite could have started AEW, but it wouldn't have been this big. Like it wouldn't have been this.
It wouldn't have been on this level.
So if Tony decides that he's done, that's it. He's the only person that really can determine if it crumbles. I mean, network, but they can always get on another network. Like that's no problem.
Yeah, it's just I don't know.
I mean, I know there's certain wrestlers leaving could impact income of ticket draws, ratings, but
really the only one that would really catastrophically hurt AEW is if CM Punk showed up at WrestleMania.
That would hurt.
That would be not. It wouldn't be a killing blow, but it would be almost as bad as
Cody.
It'd be worse than Cody, but like I think it'd be like how almost how like their size of crowds are. I feel like that'd be a pretty decent blow. Because like, unfortunately, like I said, whether you like Punk or not, like Punk is a draw.
Yeah,
you can't deny that. Even with depending on how you think about his backstage politics and all that bullshit. But if you look at it, looking at it, he is a huge draw. Unfortunately, he does outdraw Kenny. He outdraws the Bucks. He'd be the one that would be a real blow because think about it now, if you keep FTR, you have the Acclaimed still. To be honest with you, I think the Acclaimed have outdrawn the Young Bucks.
Yeah, especially in 2022. In 2022, like tag team wise, FTR really never got there. Like they were kind of hotter outside of AEW, but in AEW wise, like they, I would say February, March. When did they win the tag? They won in September. I would say in that summer, like June, July, they were really getting hot. When there was a lot of injuries, and they kind of stepped up because there for a while Max Caster was injured or Anthony Bowens. Then Max Caster got suspended, and but once they didn't win the titles at All Out, that was when their popularity just skyrocketed.
Well, and I think now, I think FTR, I think they played it smart with the whole. They're wrestlers. They're old school con men. If you look at it, and with them coming, going away and coming back, that was probably one of the best things for their career.
Yeah,
kind of got that heat back. As we kind of start to wind down here, what do you think is next for Kenny Omega? Like, where now that he's lost the trio belts, what do you think? What do you think they should do with Kenny Omega, or what do you think is going to happen with Kenny Omega?
I know one match probably never going to see, but Brian Cage and Kenny Omega will be really good. Because I remember Kenny Omega even talking about it, that the one reason that Kenny Omega wanted Brian Cage in AEW was for that match. Like they teased it for so long. I believe it was right before he left Impact. Like there was rumors of him going to Impact, and then he denied it, but it was actually true. But he posted that picture, Brian Cage him together. Then Kenny Omega retweeted one day, like this will happen, and like that would be a really good. That'd be a really good match. I'm surprised it never happened at Triple A. I feel like that match would have happened there.
Yeah, I know. Like I think Takeshita. I think that'll be the next big story for Kenny. I don't know if he'll involve the Bucks or they'll go off and do their own thing. There's maybe a new storyline with Hangman Adam Page where they reconcile, and I don't know if you do stuff with involving all four of them doing different aspects. Jason, going back to what I said earlier, Kenny versus Malachi, would be a good one. Another option I think would be great. This could go with MJF's story. Is have him beat all the AEW World Champions.
Didn't go against him.
And then have him.
How would that work? Because you have to have CM Punk in that.
So no, that's the thing. So you would start off.
That would get people's interest.
Yeah. You start off with, I would say, start off with Hangman Adam Page, because I feel like you could easily, like, he's a hot bay face that can lose, no problem. Start him off with that. And then I would say Jericho, because Jericho could turn face for a little bit. You could easily do that whole like, well, buddy, didn't you? I heard from the dirt sheets that you cheated on your wife multiple times.
Damn.
Just like something like that, like it'll write itself. And then Jericho could be a face for a little bit, and then you can always, because he's entertaining. So, and then you have him beat Kenny Omega, and then at that's when you hear that.
Wait, Jericho beats Omega?
No, MJF beats Omega, and then Punk comes out at the end of that.
That'll be really
that
good.
way you have CM Punk lose to MJF.
I can only imagine what Punk would say about MJF right now, or probably like his divorce, like his. I don't know if he got divorced or what, but about that.
His split from his fiance. So, like I said, there's a lot of stories there for MJF and
that would
Kenny. And there's a lot of stories you can do with Kenny Omega. I think, like I said, after Takeshita, I'd say do the story with MJF, and then maybe have them do a reconcile with Hangman Page and do a FTR versus.
But we still need a Kenny Omega Blood and Guts match, because I don't think we've ever gotten that. Like the first one was supposed to be the Elite versus Inner Circle, but
it never happened
because of COVID. That didn't happen. So the Elite and a Blood and Guts would be pretty good.
Could you do like a special? Because I know that you could do the Blood and Guts special, but because you can always do the Outsiders versus Team AEW, and then have Team Elite versus Team House of Black, or Team or the Undisputed Elite. Do you have that in there as well? So,
I was thinking if Roderick Strong was available, you have Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish, and Roderick Strong versus Kenny Omega, Hangman, and the Young Bucks. That'd be pretty good.
Yeah, because Bobby Fish is what is he? Is that his Impact for that brief like couple weeks, and then did he just go boxing and training people? Is that what happened?
I guess.
So
I don't know if that's a lie or not.
Who knows at this point? But I think, like I said, Kenny. I think you could do the Elite feud with House of Black and have fun with that, and just do a combination of trios, tag teams. Because could you imagine seeing Buddy Matthews and Brody King versus Omega and Hangman Adam Page?
That would be really, really good.
So there's a lot of stories that you could tell with Kenny. I don't think he's done with AEW as of right now. So
I think he would be. I don't know. I feel like he's going to go to WWE. I don't. That sucks to even think about, because without touching. But he did say that he wanted to be a legend without ever going to WWE. And only a few people have done that. Like, do something to Liger a little bit. Sting, kind of.
Okada.
Great Muta. He never went to WWE.
I think at the end of the day, you'll have the Guerrillas of Destiny that will be up there as well, unless something happens. That's the thing. I think Kenny is too passionate with AEW to leave.
Yeah, like he started this, and and everyone says that just because Cody left doesn't mean, because Cody is not Kenny.
No,
because what what pleases Kenny Omega may not please Cody, please Cody. You know.
Like I said, and it's one of those things that it did hurt AEW a little bit, and I miss Cody in AEW, but at the end of the day, he wanted to be world champion, and he didn't want to turn heel.
Like the first Dynamite that he wasn't at, I was there in Nashville. It was like the very next Wednesday after he left, and not one person talked about Cody. Like the crowd was still, I felt in Nashville like the second time I went, the crowd was really, really hot, really, really good, and I didn't see one person talking about Cody, that they missed Cody or anything. That's pretty sad.
I think it's sad because
that's pretty sad.
Like we've talked about before, fans get fickle when things don't go their way or when people don't turn heel, you know. And it's funny because the same people that stood, because I met Cody at his last autograph signing for AEW before Dynamite, and a whole huge line of people, right, to meet Cody. Almost, I guarantee you, almost every single one of them, besides me and my fiance, because she loves Cody. But every one of them was still booing and hating him. But I'm like, you have a Cody Rhodes.
Why are you
then
there?
Like, why did you meet Cody? Like, if you're just following a trend, and I get you paid your money, you can boo and cheer all you want. But the thing is, Cody never like botched hardly or botched at all, because that's how good it, you know. Yeah. It's just one of those things, like fans will turn fickle so fast. Right. And when some fans really and some of those fans don't think why is Kenny Omega so great? The thing is, the genius about Kenny Omega is you're still talking about him. Okay, you can go back, you can watch a few different versions of Kenny through New Japan, AEW, AAA, and he is still one of the best talents you have on any roster. Like, you know, he would be a great addition to WWE, but the thing is, it does not fit his style of wrestling. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, it does not fit his style. Let's see. David says Bryan Danielson was right about fickle fans.
Yeah, he said 2018. And fast forward to 2023.
Oh, just look at what they're doing to Rhea Ripley. Look at all the stuff they're doing to her. Like, you know, you have to pipe in sound for some of the WWE matches.
Yeah, I don't know. Like you can just hear like when they're having a match, and they like if you go on YouTube and put in WWE sounds, like a sound, it's the same sound you hear, WWE show. Like that's really bad. That's really bad that you gotta pump in. No, I know AEW sometimes the crowds are not hot, but at least they don't,
Like, yo, what's up?
What's up?
What's up, Aiden? Glad you could pop in for the last few minutes.
Sorry, I had some homework to do.
Oh, you're fine.
I still haven't finished it, but I needed a break.
We can keep the conversation going for a little bit longer. So the question was addressed to Connor. I'll ask you now. What's next for Kenny Omega? Like, now that he's no longer a trios champion, like what do you see happening with Kenny?
Personally, I really want him to feud with Malachi Black, and then I think he would lose that, give Malachi some heat. I think the matches would be great. And then I'd want him to move on to Adam Cole, because they have that unfinished story there. But really, I think if it's not Malachi Black, it's also they're going to tell the story with Hangman, and it's going to be like the Bucks and Hangman trying to get Kenny to like rejoin that. It's going to be them dealing with Kenny losing the title, even though it's kind of the Bucks' fault.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ways you can go. It's really exciting, actually. That's why I think this episode on tomorrow is going to be great.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what's going to happen. Did you guys like the ending to last week's Dynamite? Because I love that little teaser.
I loved it.
It reminded me of old school AEW, like episode 1 type stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like that's what it reminded me of.
That whole episode is great.
Especially the ending. Like I remember the ending of I believe it was when not the one that Jake Hager debuted at, but like I think it was like the episode Go Home episode before Full Gear, and the Elite and the Inner Circle just had a complete brawl. And then like stuff like that is what like day one AEW stuff I really liked last week.
Yeah, I thought that that whole episode was phenomenal. You open the show with the pillars, and then you go to the Elite. That's really there's two foundations to AEW, and those are both of them right there.
Yeah, I thought they did a good job with like showcasing that last week.
I seen someone post like the picture of our Revolution, where Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, were together, and remember when Hangman was acting like he was gonna turn on Kenny at Revolution. Then they had the same picture, but with the same picture again, and Hangman looking around, like looking back at him.
Yeah, there's so many ways you can go with the story. You can bring in Ibushi, do Golden Lovers versus Young Bucks 2,
Yeah.
because the first one is phenomenal. You can do another Omega versus Page if you want to. I don't think you need to, but if you want to.
I feel like
There's a lot of ways.
I think they're gonna. So now Stu Grayson's back. Is he gonna join the Dark Order? Is he gonna join the Elite? What's going on? Is he not gonna go with any of them? Like they've created this like you have to watch next week type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I hope that's reflected in viewership numbers.
Yeah, like that's the stuff that like kind of like us, like day one AEW stuff. They used to have.
One thing that if we're to talk about, I guess we could talk about now, but how like barrier breaking was the Golden Lovers.
Oh, it's very. There hasn't really been a
kind of like
story.
meat lovers, like you have the regular pizza with the Elite and the Young Bucks, but you have meat lovers, which is a little bit better.
It's such a good story. I literally I wrote a paper for my English 102 class about it.
Really?
So, yeah, I was able to. The teacher was like, just choose whatever assignment you want. It's got to be you had to do an informational one, and it was pretty much like why professional wrestling is not is not sports. It's like theater.
Yeah.
So it's like an argumentative essay, but I use that as an example. But
cool.
There's just so many layers to this story, and it is, in my opinion, the most complicated story told in professional wrestling because it's been going on since like before Kenny Omega went to Japan, when he was still in Canada, when he was in like young in ROH, and then he calls out Ibushi. He's like, I want to have a great match with you, and then he just goes and does it, and then they become friends, like real life friends, and also friends in the ring after that. And then you have Ibushi, who is just immensely talented. It's at the time of the story, the narrative was that it was more so than Omega, and at the time it was probably true. And you have Ibushi pursuing greater things, and Kenny's kind of still stuck in the mid card. That's why he becomes the cleaner. The cleaner can't you can't harm Ibushi during his match with Styles, but he still costs in the match. And then eventually they reunite, but now they're torn apart by AEW. There's just so many things you can go with it. I think it needs to continue.
Yeah. That's one thing I forgot to I mentioned it briefly last week, but it's like one of the other chapters of Kenny Omega's that's not, I guess maybe it's a little overshadowed a little bit with the Bullet Club, but I feel like it's one of the best stories that New Japan's told.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree with that. Yeah, people just talk like, oh yeah, he had a banger match with Okada. Oh yeah, he held the belt for a while. No, Ibushi is the best part of the Golden Lover story is the best part of his New Japan run.
Yes,
I'll stand by that.
So, all right. Well, let's see. I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to think of anything else we talk about with this one. I not doing too hot.
Real good.
With Kenny Omega, do you think that fans just something maybe the modern wrestling fan just don't understand the level the level and layers of Kenny Omega, and that's why they have a hard time seeing why we're so high on Kenny Omega? Do you think they just need to look more into it? Do you think he needs to cater more to the casual fans, or do you think or the casual fans just need to look at what he's doing?
I feel like at this point, I know a lot of fans that never watch wrestling, but when AEW started, they didn't watch a look at wrestling, not WWE or anything, but when AEW started, they watched AEW, and now they know who Kenny Omega is. But I feel like when they try to do, they try to talk about stuff that's not even in AEW, then they're having to go watch this, and then have to Google this, and then they have to go watch New Japan and all that. That confuses people a little bit. But I feel like he's a pretty casual wrestler at this point. Even though AEW doesn't draw 2 million viewers, fans still, even the majority of WWE fan base, know who Kenny Omega is. If they don't watch AEW, he is a household. I think he's a household name, Kenny Omega. I don't know. I feel like it's not everyone watches New Japan type thing. Like not
Yeah.
everyone. I guess you could put that in there. What was the question again? Like to see if
It was more of like, do you think casual fans like have a hard time understanding Kenny Omega?
I could see that. Yeah, because sometimes they can. I guess with the match this Wednesday, like not everyone knows who this person is, and I guess they just it's just not the casual thing that they're used to. Like AEW's done stuff a little bit differently than like a bigger promotion. Like well, they're one of the first to like. It's kind of like I guess I'd say Marvel in a way. Like you have to watch this movie to understand this, then you have to watch this to understand that, and this to understand. But if you love wrestling, then you watch all of it, I guess. No, I couldn't do it. But some people watch WWE, New Japan, AEW. I just don't have that much time in a lifetime, in a day's span to watch all that.
It's called recording and fast forwarding.
Yeah, I just don't have the patience to do that. Like the wrestling I watch is mainly AEW and a little bit of Impact. I just can't follow up on everything, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel like Kenny Omega is definitely. I wouldn't call. There's very few wrestlers who I would call like a household name nowadays. Like John Cena and The Rock. Those are like I wouldn't even call Roman Reigns a household name because, yeah, he's done some movies, but.
Sorry to cut you off, but like, did you guys see the HBO Max show where this woman says, like, I don't know what they were talking about, but it was like, that would be like if Roman Reigns went to the AEW, like that was really cool. It was in an HBO Max series, and I didn't know what it was, and someone posted on Twitter, and that was pretty cool.
I didn't see that. Anyways,
I have not seen it either. But what was I going to say? Like, I feel like for Omega, I don't think he needs to start appealing to casual viewers more. I feel like where a lot of the charm and almost like intimacy of his story comes from the fact that he's not explicitly giving out each individual detail of the story. A lot of it is stuff that you're going to have to infer. A lot of stuff is, if you've watched it, you'll be rewarded by having seen that prior context. If you haven't seen it, you'll be rewarded by going back and understanding that story. It is weird because wrestling a lot of the times is jumping onto a moving train of stories because depending on where you start, you know, you might be joining in the middle of a story. That's how I started with AEW. I started with the first episode I watched was it was the one right after Double or Nothing 2020. And so for some reason, like it was right after Brian Cage debuted. I was like, I have no idea who this guy is. When I see that, for me, I see a new wrestler and I'm like, okay, I'm going to just Google their best. I'm going to like go online, find their best match. I'm going to watch that. So I feel like a lot of the argument that bringing in these unknown people is dumb is kind of unfair to those people because they are known just for a different audience, and especially for El Hijo del Vikingo because he has been scheduled to face Omega. I think it was 2 years ago. Well, no, about a year ago because it was late 2021.
Yeah.
And so there's also been a lot of AAA like we've had Andrade versus Kenny Omega in AAA. So I just feel like it's a lot of unfair criticism.
I feel they could have done that in AAA at this point.
The Omega match?
Yeah, this Omega match they're doing.
Well, it was going to happen, but then he got injured.
They could have still done it.
Well, I wouldn't have wanted to see an injured Kenny doing that.
Like they could do it now. Now that they could have done that.
I don't think AAA cares as much about having the first of something as
because
a lot of.
Because I feel like didn't they have a partnership with AEW in the begin with?
They did, but Conan keeps calling like Tony Khan a horrible booker and stuff.
Yeah, I didn't know he was over that. I didn't know he owned that.
Yeah, he's not the owner, but I think he books a lot of it, and he works with a lot of talent there. Yeah, he's kind of a cornball though. He's clearly trying to get into WWE's, trying to get a job with WWE or trying to get some kind of recognition from him. But
it's crazy because didn't Road Dogg do the same thing?
Yeah, Road Dogg did the same thing. He tried to suck up to TK, and then TK was like, "Nah, man, you're not getting a job."
He's inducting Rey Mysterio into the Hall of Fame, I believe.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think
That's
that's
cool,
a
though.
that's a good choice.
Which Rey Mysterio requested him, and that's
I don't like.
that's normally how it is. Like, not all the time, but some of the well, if you're gonna duck someone, I feel like that's a personal feeling. Like it'd be like I don't know, Linda McMahon inducting an Undertaker into the Hall of Fame would have no like personal level stuff. I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I just think it's interesting if you look at if you want to keep on this topic, but the whole like when Takeshita did the salute to Eddie Guerrero, but why didn't you call out Jericho and the Bucks and others that say aren't a Latino heritage? It's just, to me, like, you're now just saying something about this. Like, if it's that serious of an issue, or why didn't you just be respectful and reach out to Takeshita privately? Like, this is all culture appreciation. Like, what's that's a topic on?
I feel like it's
here.
I feel like it's just nitpicking now, like anything now.
Almost how Eric Bischoff is doing too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they realize that they're gonna get paid for being on a podcast, for being online, for anything if they're gonna be insulting AEW, because they know there's a big market for people who are gonna do that. It's not going to work out for them in the long run, because eventually that money's going to run out. The narrative that AEW is dying is clearly not true when they have another hour of TV coming soon. It's only just a matter of time until they do. They just know it's profitable for them. And hey, if you're chasing that bag, might as well. I'm not going to insult you for that. I will call you a cornball, actually. So I guess I will insult you for it.
I like that. I like the cornball.
I know here lately, Tony Khan's been like the narrative that everyone who batches AEW is like a bot account or a fake account.
Which he does own an information analytics company.
That's not
That's
always
what's interesting about it,
because I'm not a bot, and I criticize it's not like I hate AEW, but
but I think he means like the accounts that were created like in 2021, 2022 that are all like the Roman avatars with all these like only talking like stupid stuff. I don't think Garrett's a bot. I think Garrett's too funny.
I don't know
Garrett's too deranged to be a bot.
He at this point he says he doesn't do it, but on AEW stuff, like he'll spam the entire chat.
Yeah, that's definitely Garrett.
Like I confirmed about it, and then he said that's not me, but every single and you trash AEW on there. I don't know. It's not like I'm a I didn't know this, but I'm a WWE fan, guys. I got a picture of Tony Khan. Someone told me I'm a WWE fan.
Mm-hmm. I love when people say that to me.
I got a picture of me with Tony Khan, and I'm supposed to be a WWE. I haven't watched WWE, and God, I know what's going on with Cody, and I haven't watched them.
I don't even know what's going on with Cody. Is the whole story just his dad is Dusty Rhodes? Like, is that it?
His dad's Dusty Rhodes is going up against Roman Reigns and the Bloodline, and
there's so much they could have done.
And there's also some stuff with
I did like the line with Roman Reigns. He basically said, "You started your own wrestling company. You couldn't get over there."
I think that Cody could probably fry Roman on the mic, but I think that they're not allowing him to, because I'm betting that I'm thinking Roman might retain, so they don't want him to look too bad.
They don't want to destroy him.
I wonder who beats after Cody. I feel like the only person is Randy Orton left that he hasn't won against.
I have no idea.
He hasn't beat everybody.
I know that the 1,000th day of his title run is at a Saudi show, so
they could probably pull the trigger on Cody at Saudi and then have him lose at WrestleMania.
That's so insane.
What a moment!
But then again, Saudi Arabia, they could pay for anything.
True.
They may be the new bosses as the time recording. We're still waiting to see if they're selling and who they're selling to.
Imagine telling Sami Zayn that his new boss is the Saudi Arabian government. That's
horrible. I think he would quit and go to AEW.
Good. He should be allowed to.
Well, it's like
that would be a little nightmare.
Well, and look at all the female wrestlers too, because they're not.
What are they gonna do?
Like, think about it, because they're a little more lenient, but the women still have to wear like full on.
I did hear that
tracksuits to wrestle.
That WWE acknowledged that it wasn't even real or something like that. They haven't had any talks with anyone, like related to purchasing it, but that doesn't mean that they wouldn't purchase it. Like, even though there hasn't been talks, I know Saudi Arabia would be on it.
I'm betting that it's because Vince came back and he set a ridiculously high price just so he can, stay in the company in control.
Get in control, keep in control. Because think about it, he's slowly putting his hands back into the pot. It sounds like.
And who called that?
I think all of us.
Well, no, CM Punk. It was at a thing, and he said that you're not going to tell me that. And
oh yeah,
give it a little, like Vince McMahon's not going to have something to do with it. Like he's not just going to sit back and let Triple H like that. Like that's going to be when he dies. When Triple H really get hate to say it, but
the thing about it,
like even when he's dead, he'll still have something to do with WWE. Like his name will always.
Because he forced out Stephanie.
Yeah.
Where Nick Khan's and the CEO, Triple H is still now the head booker in charge of talent relations.
It is a big mess over there. I would hate to work there.
What is Triple H doing also? Like this WrestleMania card is so bad. It's not so bad. There's 5 matches that I think will be good.
I don't know. I think he's trying to make some different and unique matches. But Brock and that one's a weird Brock and Oho or Omos.
We know who that's booked for. we know.
Well, the thing about if the guy can actually come out and put on a decent big man match, I'll be okay with it. But
I don't think he can.
It's one of those things that like people are praising his match card, but yet
if they wanted to do anything,
bashing AEW's last one, even though AEW put one of the best pay-per-views of the year.
If they wanted to do anything, they could have put Goldberg against Omos.
They should have, yeah.
And there you go, quick 5-minute match. There you go. That'll be fine.
Because Goldberg doesn't wrestle but 5-minute matches.
But apparently his contract's gone and he's no longer with WWE. Yeah. So please don't book him in AEW.
The only way I would accept him in AEW is if it's against Wardlow and Wardlow squashes him and then he's just gone. That's the only way I would accept it.
I could see him being a manager, like if he wants to be a manager
or he could, well, in my opinion, he has been a good wrestler. Never. He has never been a good wrestler. Like
calm down there, Bret Hart. Jeez.
Well, it's not just Bret Hart. Like William Regal, tried to get him to wrestle, and he couldn't wrestle. Like, isn't it this documentary? And like basically Goldberg was just a like WWE had their Stone Cold, and they wanted that same type of person. So Goldberg's a football player. They teach him a couple moves, but then they noticed that he was just doing the same stuff, and then they had William Regal try to work with him, and then he couldn't do not one technical move. I mean, Goldberg's mainly basically a shot at WWE for Stone Cold, which Vince McMahon, not Vince McMahon, but Eric Bischoff said he even admitted that.
Yeah, I think I hope that it's Goldberg's time to retire. He's lost to everyone he's needed to lose to.
I mean, I guess
the only match, the Undertaker.
Like really, the only match, like Aiden said, would be Wardlow because Wardlow gets that the same type of, or used to that same type of entrance.
Mm-hmm.
But
that's the only way.
Right. I don't know what else there's. Besides Wardlow,
that or Satnam Singh. That's it.
That would be pretty funny.
Satnam Singh is just better almost.
Or just have Moxley destroy him.
I mean, Goldberg, I don't know what's left for him to do.
There's not. I think at this time, he came back, did the stuff for your son, won the championship. I think it's time. I think it's time he rides off into the sunset, just does backstage stuff if he wants to do that, or if not, just enjoy being retired.
Just be like a football scout or something. Like he could do that.
Yeah, because he really was a good. I don't know if he was a good football player, but he could damn spear someone. Have you seen who was it? I think it was Randy Orton. Oh my God, it's like a football tackle.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he played for the Minnesota Vikings. He could be a football scout or something.
Yeah, maybe a talent scout I could see me a talent scout for WWE, but
I will say that Goldberg's one of the nicest wrestlers you could meet. I met Goldberg once. It's me and my uncle, and we only paid for one autograph, but he ended up signing 5 items of us and getting a picture with all me, my uncle, and my grandmother.
Yeah, that's
which we didn't even pay for half of that. So
yeah, see, I have a respect for that.
Bret Hart has left the chat though. He said he's nice, and now he's furious.
I do agree that Goldberg wasn't fully trained, and that's not totally his fault. It's not his fault.
Yeah, they put him on TV way too early.
But Bret, just get over it. Like, how long are we going to be on?
Well, the thing is, at this point, Goldberg's even said he's trying to reach out and try to apologize, and
Because if Goldberg wouldn't have ended his career, Bret Hart would have been retired by now, anyways.
Yeah.
I feel like the problem is that Bret Hart sees people like Goldberg get paid millions of dollars to do like 2 matches. And like if that were to happen to me and like I couldn't wrestle because, you know, I got kicked in the face by this guy, I would also be pretty upset. That's $1 million that you're missing out on. And like he did have to end his career early. So, but like I understand being upset, but I also understand Goldberg's. He's tried to reach out. It's just kind of like a bad situation, and sometimes you just can't avoid those. So
yeah. All right. Well, that's going to do it tonight for Talking Elite. Thank you, Aiden, for coming on. Thank you, Connor.
Sorry I joined so late.
Oh, no, like I said, you're fine. You know, you only got like, you know, rocket science to study for.
No, I don't know why I have coding homework. That's not my major. I do biology.
What is coding?
I have to type in this program called R to make like graphs and stuff. I hate R. I don't know how to do this stuff.
I'm getting ready to learn that here in a couple sections, so I feel your pain.
I'm just bad at it.
I don't know if you should this last 2 comments, but 5-man champs.
That would be crazy. I feel like you could just do a tournament though and do like a trophy, and then you could have that be defended like the King of Pro Wrestling.
That could be like a wrestling Olympics almost. Like Team USA team. I'm surprised there isn't a wrestling Olympics. Which you don't have to include WWE, but and Omega and Matthews. I've been wanting to see that match for a long. Like of course we've gotten the trios matches, but
I worry if Matthews is still 205 live great because he had a match with Okada and it was just fine. Like how are you gonna have a match with Okada and it's just fine?
Well, sometimes
everybody can have an off night.
True.
Most times, a lot of guys like Matthews, especially, is like the guys he has chemistry with. Like I don't like Kenny Omega. He would quit pretty quickly because they wrestle the same way, so they'd pick up really fast. But Omega and Matthews could be match of the year. It could be a contender. He is like I even told him that he was the Australian version of Kenny Omega.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for Talking Elite tonight. Thank you to my wonderful panel. It's always good to have you guys on. Next week, we will be doing a whole fun podcast. Connor came up with the idea in the middle of recording. We'll be talking about our favorite factions throughout the years. So we'll be talking anywhere from the Bloodline to, the NWO to the Elite. We'll have a fun show on that and talk about the importance of having factions in your company. So thanks again for Connor and Aiden. Make sure you guys check us out on Twitter at All Elite Zone 1. Make sure you guys hit the link down below and subscribe because we'll be back tomorrow night for our Dynamite watch along show. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We'll stream Dynamite and talk about it. And then we will catch you guys on Friday for Rampage. And then we'll see you guys next week for Talking Elite.